friends, this is Marilyn from tarotclarity.com, and a little bit keeping still with the Hollywood theme. I'm not doing a reading on a movie or anything. At least I don't intend to, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. But I was thinking last night about a deck that I had in my formative years that I neglected to put in the collection of decks that I had back in the day because I just forgot about it. And it was called Cosmic Tarot. Now, it was, I think my version at least was published in, I think 1989 by Norbert Loesch. I think Loesch is the proper pronunciation, by US Game Systems, Inc. And I think the reason I bought it was because I don't know how I would have heard this because we didn't have internet. But somehow I was aware, or maybe because I saw it in the store and I recognized this face as a Garbo. So I got the hunch that the pictures or the people faces, may have been based on, famous people, not necessarily celebrities, like as in Hollywood stars, but celebrities as in notable individuals. The box has seen better days. It's kind of a mess. So for that reason, I did put it in a tin. I've kept the box safe in another place, but it just will, the deck being in that box will just destroy the box further. So I've since put them in a tin. I thought it would be fun today to do it. Now, I know it's a deck that's been around a long time, but kind of it's like out of sight, out of mind. And maybe there aren't too many people who have done videos on this deck. I don't know. I didn't do that research on that. I think it's still available from what I can tell. I think it's still available. It came with a little white book. Unfortunately, as soon as I bought it, the first thing I wanted to do was see who the people were, So I went to the little white book to see, like, is this Rita Garbo? Is this Clark Gable, But it doesn't give us any kind of information like that. So it's either that the person who created the deck didn't necessarily want it to be about movie stars, but they just used the likeness of people who were convenient for them to draw. I don't know. It came with 2 additional cards published by AGM Mueller, but the box itself says printed in Belgium for US Game Systems, Inc. in Stamford, Connecticut. And it gives us a little bit about Norbert Loesch, the creator and artistic designer of the Cosmic Tarot, was born in 1951, is a self-taught artist, and currently lives in Aachen, Germany. He originally began his professional life as a surveyor, then studied the history of art for several terms before taking up painting. It was an interest in the esoteric which led him to the tarot, an interest which found the perfect means of expression in the creation of the Cosmic Tarot. So you see, there is no acknowledgement whatsoever, to the fact that there may be famous people's faces on there. So I don't know what's up with that. I would have been probably eager to announce it, but maybe I don't know. Maybe he didn't want to get sued or something if some of the people were still alive in 1989. So let me flip the camera. Well, look at the deck. It's not Rider-Waite-Smith based. It doesn't seem to jibe with Rider-Waite-Smith. And I don't know. I don't know if it has any overtones of Thoth. I'm not a Thoth individual. So those of you who have studied Thoth, you may comment if it's, some of the cards seem to represent, it seem to be in keeping with some Rider-Waite-Smith, like the 3 of Swords. Nobody can get away from the 3 of Swords. Seems like that's just the telltale card for Rider-Waite-Smith. But I don't know. It just seems like there's some cards that just don't fit Rider-Waite-Smith. Now let me flip the camera, see what movie stars we can identify. I'm doing this basically to look at the movie stars' faces to see if you can recognize the ones that I don't. All right, here is the Fool. Now, if we zoom in on the face, I don't see a resemblance to anyone that I'm familiar with. You know, I'm struck by the card, the deck's beauty. It's a beautiful deck. You know, the color's beautiful. The quality of drawing is lovely. Now, you know, this looks like somebody we should know, but I just don't recognize who that could be. Now to me, oh, here are the backs. I don't know if they've changed the backs in the time since it's been first published or not. Now to me, this looks like a young Garbo. And it seems as though there are several representations of Garbo in this deck. Now he chooses who I think is Garbo to represent the High Priestess. They call it the High Priestess in this deck. Excuse my coughing and my gravelly voice. I swear to goodness, I've had a cold all winter long. Since October, I've had a cold. I've either had COVID or a cold or something. Oh, now she looks like somebody. But, you know, I think there are some instances where the rendering of the face is not quite enough to be recognizable, but maybe they used a famous person as this, you know, the starting point, you know. Maybe there was a photograph in a magazine that had the right pose, and, you know, maybe he chose that, you know, to use as the what's the word? The model, you know. And then went a little, now, you know who that looks like? That kind of reminds me of Belinda Carlisle, but I don't even know if she was famous at this point. Do any of you recognize who that might be? Now I'm trying to think of like really early, like they have Clark Gable in here, so you would think it would be a perfect opportunity to have like Carole Lombard, you know, but I don't see her in here at all. And there may have been other inspirations, which is probably why it's not noted on the little white book, you know, that it was based on movie stars. Now, this doesn't look like Patrick Swayze, but this kind of reminds me of the scene of Dirty Dancing, you know. I don't know, maybe it was in a poster or something. It was how they advertised the film. But it kind of reminds me of you know, the Dirty Dancing advertisements. But when you look at them up close, it doesn't look like Jennifer Grey or Patrick Swayze. Now, is this not another Garbo? This looks like another Garbo. Or could that be Billy Burke? Oh, I don't know. It doesn't look like Billy Burke. But it kind of reminds me of like the Good Witch in The Wizard of Oz with the kind of crown that is. Except look how clever that is. It's like the rays from portals in a tower, but then it also looks like the crystals in a crown. You see the quality of drawing. It's just lovely, you know, the line and then the rendering of color. Now, could have this been somebody, you know, like a rock star that I'm just not familiar with? I mean, she almost looks like somebody, but I just can't put my finger on it. Excuse me. And his eyes are closed. Isn't that interesting? Usually it's a person who's awake. So I'm going to have to put this death card aside for when I do Masha's tarot trumps, top tarot trumps. You know, when we get to death, I kind of like that death card. A corporate devil. Oh, wow, look at that. So I get, oh man, I have always loved this moon card. Isn't that something? I guess a reference to Pisces. Excuse me. And maybe that's Jackie Coogan when he was a little boy. He was in a film with Charlie Chaplin. I think it was called The Champ, maybe? It could have been. But other than that, I don't know the child. Jackie Coogan, of course, grew up to be Uncle Fester from the original Addams Family. Okay. I don't recognize her. The world. And on to the pips. And you see what I mentioned about the Three of Swords? They just can never, tech creators just can't get away from that. They have to do it like that. You know, something about now, let's see, do we see anybody we recognize here? I was hoping to see somebody like Peter Lorre, you know, and this guy's having a real bad day. Now, who is that? Is that Peter Lorre? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, Peter Lorre had hair. You know, this makes me think of, what was his name? He was married to Debbie Reynolds and left Debbie Reynolds for Elizabeth Taylor. Fisher. I forget what his first name. I think that looks like him, Fisher. But I don't know. And this girl kind of reminds me of Kate Capshaw, but I don't know if she was famous then. 1989, she might have been. I just don't know. He's very handsome, but I can't put my finger on him either. He looks like somebody we ought to know. Oh, Bogart and Bacall. For sure. Wow. I mean, could this be like Gina Lolabrigida? Wasn't she in West Side Story? Maybe it's like a reference to that. I don't know. Oh, wow. This is repeated. The Six of Cups is repeated in the Seven of Cups, so I guess the romance didn't go well, huh? This kind of reminds me of like Leonard Whiting, I think his name was, from Romeo and Juliet, the Zeffirelli film, but then this young lady doesn't look like Olivia Hussey. But here it looks more like Leonard Whiting, doesn't it? What was his name? The one who played Beretta and was accused, but maybe vindicated of shooting his wife. What was his name? It's going to bug me. That does look like him, though, doesn't it? I'm sorry, I'm probably not showing enough of the card. I'm just zeroing in on the faces. Oh, that's obviously another Garbo. And that's another Garbo too. Look at that. It's got to be Garbo. So whoever, this guy, Loesch. I think he was a Garbo fan, right? Okay, now who is this woman? This woman looks familiar. I can't quite place her, but she does look familiar. Well, there's Clark Gable for sure. With a beard. I don't think he ever had one. Perhaps the artist didn't want us to be distracted by the Hollywood faces and to detract from the depictions on the cards, because you see that's all I'm looking at it for. I'm looking at it for the Hollywood movie stars. So there's a point to it, not wanting. There's a point to not wanting to have it to be about the Hollywood stars, right, or the celebrity. It looks like a young Val Kilmer, but I don't know if that's who that is. I don't know if he was famous in 1989. I don't remember. That looks like Gina Lolabrigida right there. Sean Connery. Oh my goodness. Yes. Very nice likeness. Kind of reminds me of Bela Lugosi. I think he was in a mad scientist movie. Or was that Karloff? No, I'm not sure. But it still looks like Boris Karloff. It still looks like Bela Lugosi a little bit. Oh, even the pentacles are worn. Okay, so the Three of Swords and the Five of Pentacles definitely have an Rider-Waite-Smith vibe. Is that another Garbo? I don't know. Oh, Rita Heyworth. Ah, she was a beauty. Put the blame on me, boy. Robert Blake. That's who. When I said Beretta, I don't remember which card it was, though. Robert Blake. How did I know the name? Now I can't find the card. Oh, I think it was Robert Blake. This guy here. Charles Bronson. Oh, I wonder if that's Mary Astor. Oh, she's a favorite. I was thinking of doing a video on the Maltese Falcon. I was thinking about doing that one today, but then I decided to do this. But this makes me think, if this is Mary Astor, I ought to do a video on the Maltese Falcon, because it's kind of kismet. Gregory Peck. I bet that's Gregory Peck. Get the goat. So, I just thought it would be fun to take a look at this deck. I haven't seen it probably since the early 90s. I forgot completely that I had it. I remember buying it because probably because of the box, and probably because I thought that looked like Greta Garbo. Because I wouldn't have had any other information to go on. You know, there wouldn't have been any kind of internet information or anything like that. So I think this is a lovely deck. If you're into Rider-Waite-Smith, or, you know, you're willing to read it with, you know, I guess there's enough similarity, but there are some differences, you know. But you can read anything. You could read lines on a piece of paper if you want, right? So anyway, until next time, friends, peace, stay well, be kind, and do no harm.